All right, family, here again another time, live on Dexterity Radio. I believe that you all are having a beautiful time. Thank you so much for me. It is one of the days for me. I just call it a cool, calm, and collected on the triple C level as we run this very particular show right here on Dexterity Radio. I'm so sorry for coming up in exactly 5 minutes with a bit of delay, simply because we're trying to put some technicalities together just to make sure that we'll be able to enjoy this very particular broadcast and also to enjoy everything that we need to do when it comes to this very particular show. And so for those of you who are joining me for the very first time, I want to introduce myself to you. My name is called Darlington Steve, which is one of the hosts on Dexterity Radio. And I believe that definitely every one of you, this very particular moment, you guys are waiting, taking it cool, come and collected on the triple C level as I begin to prepare a way of introducing my guests who will be with me this very particular moment. I promise you, it's going to be an interesting conversation. It's going to be more all around. I think I remember I was speaking. I was saying to him, we have a notification when it comes to issue of is it diabetics, is it diabetic? He was saying that no, diabetics is this. It's a lot of he's going to be the one to tell us about what we need to talk about. But trust me, for those of you who are following me currently now on my Facebook page, we'll be talking everything diabetics. How do we need to find a way? How do we manage it? What are the things in which we need to put in place? We understand too well that one of the things that this very particular sickness is, probably this very particular disease, depending on how you want to call it, most times we don't then know how to be able to put ourselves together when we get to find out that the doctor has diagnosed us to say we have this very particular ailment. For instance, you have your type 1 diabetes, you have your type 2 diabetes, you have your gestational diabetes. It's just a lot. One of the things that we can say today is the fact that I don't care who you are, I don't care what the doctor has said. Maybe they said to you that this very particular what you call ailment in your body cannot go. But we have something that we understand, that the Bible says that in the name of Jesus, every knee shall bow and every tongue shall confess that Jesus Christ is the Lord. That very particular sickness has been nailed to the cross. So based on this very particular, we are giving you a system to see how to manage it when you begin to find a way of how to then appropriate your faith. And trust me, the faith in which you move, when you be able to pull that very particular what's called healing in your life, that faith is already on the inside of you. I remember when I shared this very particular thing on my WhatsApp, one of the guys who happened to be my friend, and he sent me messages like, "Oh wow, thank you so much for actually talking about thing. I look forward to hearing from you, because there is a friend of mine in China who find a way of actually managing this, and this person is actually living long. I hope your guest is going to help us put conversations on how to manage it." And I said, yes, he's going to put a conversation out, but there's also another part that if we have the faith and also living beyond what the doctor has said, which means the possibility for us also to pull the supernatural to be able to compel happening here on earth Trust me, God wants you rested, and the rest of that you want. So because of this, I'm just so excited knowing that this man that I'm about to introduce to you runs a foundation called the PJosh Foundation, and he's been doing phenomenal work in Nigeria and across the globe. I remember I went to the profile. I see that he has done stuff outside of his particular country. He also has a lot of followers in South Africa here whom, by his divine wisdom, how God has empowered him for him to do what he is doing, he's been able to put solution on the table that you and I tonight will be able to take hold for us to be able to run the possibility. Or maybe you might be listening and Valentine, I hear you, but I don't have politics, and I don't know what the information you will get tonight will help you. I'm not saying somebody in your family will have it, no, hear me, but I'm just saying in case you got to find out that somebody has this very particular thing, you also can be a professional where you tell them, don't panic. One of the things what is going on. The panic and the fear is actually what moves them, and not even the sickness itself. But nonetheless, no other person which I want to introduce this very particular moment. Someone who I know that when I see his degrees and his profile and the things in which he has been able to pull up, I knew that he is the person to talk to us about all things diabetics in which we were talking about today. But before I continue this, I just want to read a bit of a profile which I found, and especially when it comes to this very particular ailment. It has actually been proven that this has taken life of loved ones. Many of them died because they diagnosed late, and some due to improper management of the conditions of the condition. Well-managed diabetes is leading cause of nothing but managed leading cause of complications like diabetic. It has a lot of big grammars here. That okay, it has a lot of diabetic, foot ulcer, diabetic. Okay, now I need to talk about all this things because we have a grammar that sometimes. Okay, now is the name. Just for us, good to have you.
Yeah, good evening here from Nigeria. Good evening, those of my friends and our viewers from South Africa. I love you all. I'm so excited to be a part of this conversation. I'm so excited. I'm going to be a blessing to people's lives, to educate you about diabetes and to be a part of your diabetes management team. I'm so excited about that.
And I think the thing there is the fact that when we struggle with the whole concept of this very particular we get into a lot of people because I think your sound is really causing a bit. I'm trying to see how to making this work well. Okay, now that we don't know how. Can you hear me?
You said?
Can you hear me clearly? Because I'm hearing a bit of.
I can hear you now.
Okay. All right, now. From here.
I didn't hear what you said. I didn't get what you said.
I'm saying that can you please introduce yourself to us in terms of what do we do? Yeah, so just give us a brief.
Okay. Yeah, my name is Joshua Emmanuel. I'm the founder of PJosh Diabetes Foundation. I'm an international diabetes educator and advocate, a member of the Bicycle Voices of the International Diabetes Federation. I'm so passionate about diabetes advocacy, not just in Africa, but across the world. It is my life. It is what I've chosen to do in my life as a scientist and as a diabetes educator. So I think all you should know about me is just that my life goes around diabetes. So I think that is all you should know for now.
But if I want to ask you a question, the question there will now be among all the causes, why did you just decide to go for diabetes?
What did you say?
I said, among all the causes, why do you choose to go into this very particular space when it comes to the concept?
Okay. Yeah. There's something called purpose. I never planned in my life. I never planned in my life that I'm gonna be something. I'm gonna be talking about diabetes. Like when I was in school, I just want to graduate and get a good job, maybe in a company or in a very big hospital or in a very big firm. And I got a job in an international organization, and so at the end of the contract, I was like asking myself and asking God, what can I actually do with my life? What can I actually do in my life? So I was like, I kept praying about it. I asked God, please, I want to know what to do in my life. What path should I follow? I don't want to do things everybody is doing. I want to be not a particular thing. I don't want to be like the rest. So God asked me, I should take a pen. I took a pen. He said I should start writing. I started writing. I wrote, first thing I wrote was diabetes. I was like, what is this one? What is diabetes? Like, what will I be doing with this? And the passion came up, but I couldn't just explain. I started as a fresh graduate in 2015. I started walking around the city, trekking very long distance. I became a diabetes pastor. I became a diabetes evangelist. Talking to people about diabetes, going to hospitals, talking to people about diabetes, going everywhere. It wasn't easy. My family was like, what is all this? I should stop all these things. Like, as long as money is not coming out, as a typical Nigerian man, you need money. And money was not coming out. And so, but I know God, the passion was still there. Though most times I would go inside, I would cry because the people I expected to believe in me, to support me, they are not there to support me. But I didn't let them stop me. I didn't let them all those things stop me. The passion was still there. God was still in me. And to today, I'm not saying that I'm not saying that I've gotten to the top of everything. But the truth is that I am not the same way I used to be when I started 2015. I have moved and I keep on progressing every day. So what I'm doing today is not an ambition. It's not what I chose. It's not what I got out of an ambitious mind. It is what God has called me into. What God has given me. It's an assignment from God to do.
The moment what are the challenges you've seen that? What are the challenges?
The challenges I've seen as since I started the foundation.
Yeah.
We are living in Africa, and Africa, we're having financial issues. Of course, there's going to be financial issues. Also the issue of people you expected to believe in you most times, you may not get the support from them, but that is secondary, because if you actually know who has given you assignment, so you shouldn't get bothered about whether somebody believes in you or not. But the major challenge has been, the financial support. I have a lot of things in my head. I have a lot of things to do. The vision for the foundation is to be the African reference in diabetes advocacy and care. We want to reach out to every country in Africa, reach out to Nigeria, reach out to South Africa, to Ghana, to Zimbabwe, to Zambia, every country in Africa. So I'm not just that we're going to reach out to them, we're going to be having a structure in all those countries. Come to Ghana, there is a structure for that for PJosh Foundation in Ghana. In South Africa, we have a structure. We want to be the African reference. Like if the WHO wanna do something about that in Africa, we want to be the first contact organization they can reach out to. Want to be a reference in diabetes advocacy when it comes to Africa. So it all takes a lot of financial support, financial stuff to do. But it's a gradual process. The more I believe in consistency, and I believe that God always makes provision for his vision. I believe that. So he has been fed with truth. He has been making provisions for his vision. So the major challenge has been the financial aspect, nothing else. Nothing else. And then again, me, my own part as a visionary, I have to work so hard, seeing patients. Most times you don't sleep early. Most times you have to wake up in between the night to address questions on diabetes, to attend to patients. A lot of, it takes my time, it takes my life. I don't have another life apart from diabetes, apart from going to church, come back. I don't have time to go to party. I don't even have time for party. I don't even have time for other stuff. Like, you just go to church, come back, diabetes. My post on Facebook, diabetes, once in a while, talk about Jesus. And so these are some of the prices I have to pay to get to this point I am today.
Okay. With that being said, I think one of the things that I want to just gender. Many people, many persons who are I want to ask you here, how concept of this very particular anybody's body?
I didn't get the question. The sound wasn't. I wasn't hearing what you're saying.
Okay, can you? I think also I'm really struggling when it comes to also your sound. My question is,
I didn't get what you said. I didn't hear what you said.
Oh my God! I don't know what is going on now. I need to find a way of how to rectify this particular. Hello.
Okay. Yeah, I'm here.
My question again is, what are the costs for this very particular? Somebody says I have moment.
Okay. What are the causes of diabetes? Okay,
Yes.
it's a reason that we know that. There are different types of diabetes. We have the type 1 diabetes mellitus. We have the type 2 diabetes mellitus. We have gestational diabetes. We also have prediabetes and other forms of diabetes, which the WHO may not permit us to talk much about. Let's start with type 1 diabetes. Diabetes, as we know, is a chronic metabolic disease that's characterized by hyperglycemia. Hyperglycemia is something as high blood sugar level. So there's an organ in your body called the pancreas. The pancreas produces two hormones, the insulin and the glucagon. So a deficiency of the hormone insulin, or as in deficiency or absolute deficiency of the hormone insulin, brings about hyperglycemia. So, for example, in type 1 diabetes, what is actually to type 1 diabetes is that the beta cells of the pancreas starts attacking itself, leading to complete destruction of the beta cells. That means the pancreas does not produce any beta cells. So, when the pancreas does not produce any beta cells, then that means that there's no production of insulin. So, in type 1 diabetes, there is no production of insulin. So so this now leads to type 1 diabetes. And now we can actually pick a particular thing and say this is the cause of the autoimmune stuff, why the beta cells start attacking itself. It's a reason that we know that type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease. The patients living with type 1 diabetes didn't cause his or her disease. It's not because of what he or she ate. It's not because of what his or her parents did. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease. Now, we can actually point out and say this is the cause of this autoimmune stuff. We're suggesting maybe exposure to infection, some pancreatic disease, and so on. So type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease. It is not the cause of the patient. The patient causes themselves. It's not the cause of the patient's relative or the patient's father or mother. Now, for the type 2 diabetes, there is production of insulin, but not enough to take the glucose to the cells where they can be used for metabolic activities. And then there's also a combination of insulin resistance. So the major cause of type 2 diabetes is insufficient production of insulin or insulin resistance, or a combination of both insufficient production of insulin and then insulin resistance. Now, our lifestyle puts us at high risk of becoming type 2 diabetic. Our lifestyle puts us at risk. Type 1 diabetes is not a lifestyle disease. You didn't cause it yourself. It's an autoimmune disease. But see, for type 2 diabetes, it's like 70% lifestyle disease. It's actually caused through sedentary lifestyles, unhealthy eating, smoking and alcohol. All this can put you at risk. Then even family history. Type 2 diabetes also can be hereditary. So if your family history, if you have a history of type 2 diabetes, you're also at risk of getting diabetic. Now, gestational diabetes, during pregnancy, most women their sugar level tends to get high. So, but after delivery, the sugar level comes back to normal. Why most of them, after delivery, the sugar level remains like that. So, putting them at risk of it, most of them end up becoming type 2 diabetic. Now, pre-diabetes, they are borderline diabetes. You are not diabetic, but you are tending to become diabetic if you don't take swift action. So pre-diabetes is called borderline. You are not diabetic, but you are tending to become diabetic, type 2 diabetic, if you don't take swift action. So do you understand? So type 1 diabetes, you can actually hold something and say it's a cause. It's an autoimmune disease. Type 2 diabetes is a lifestyle disease. I think 70 to 80% lifestyle cause. So your lifestyle can put you at risk of getting type 2 diabetes. Then gestational diabetes, the cause of pregnancy, after pregnancy, most women, the sugar level comes back to normal, while most of them end up becoming diabetic. So did you understand what I said? Okay.
Oh, sorry. My next question now will be someone who currently does not know that. No.
Someone that does what? I couldn't the sound.
Sign that you are having diabetes. What are the signs?
Okay, yeah. There are clinical signs, or we call it diagnostic signs of diabetes. This goes across both the type 1 diabetes and the type 2 diabetes mellitus. So frequent urination, we call it polyuria. Medical term is called polyuria. Frequent test, polydipsia. That's the medical term. Frequent urination, polydipsia, frequent test. Frequent urination is polyuria. Frequent test is polydipsia. Then you're always hungry, polyphagia. Weight loss, to start losing weight. But let me go back. It's a student that you know that if you're urinating frequently, that does not mean that you have diabetes. Some other things can cause someone to urinate frequently. Some other diseases like UTI and even post-operative issue too. So it's a student that if you notice that you're urinating frequently, you're urinating more than normal, like urinating 5 times, 6 times in the night or even in the day, what you should do is just don't get panic. Don't panic about it. Just see a medical doctor for proper medical diagnosis. Now, I said the first sign of diabetes, I said they always urinate frequently, they always thirsty because they're urinating frequently, they're losing water, so they have to get water, they're always hungry, weight loss, they call it infection, blurry vision. If you're looking at something, to be as if that smoke is covering your eyes. So that is blurry vision, sexual dysfunction, slow healing of wounds. So these are some of the signs and symptoms of diabetes. But we are here today not just to scare you. In case you are having any of these signs and symptoms I just mentioned, don't just get scared. Just visit the hospital for proper medical diagnosis. We are still going to talk. It's a student that you know that early diagnosis of diabetes and proper management, going to preserve your life. So diabetes is not a death sentence if it is diagnosed on time and properly managed. So if you have these signs and symptoms, if you are eating frequently, you are thirsty, you are losing weight, you are having frequent urination, you're having sexual dysfunction, you're always sick, just visit the hospital for proper medical diagnosis. Then they'll take your sugar level, and from there, to find out if you're actually diabetic or not. And if you're diabetic, fine, it's not a death sentence. Management will pick up immediately.
Okay, part of the question which I want to say,
what did you say?
How is the challenge of this very particular diabetics in terms of people having access to information, in terms of having access to proper?
Okay. So type 2 diabetes, type 1 diabetes is the symptoms are very sweet, like you can notice sweet as fast as possible. Unlike type 2 diabetes, type 2 diabetes most times asymptomatic. Most persons can be type 2 diabetic for years and don't even know. And then here in Africa, we have limited information on diabetes, unlike over there in Europe and in America. There is limited information. I think I'm so excited about what South Africa is doing. South Africa is actually doing a very nice job in diabetes awareness. I'm so excited about what they are doing. And Nigeria too, we are trying our best. So people living with diabetes, you need to be educated. You need the information. Diabetes education is like it's a weapon to disarm the diabetes complications. You notice that some people with diabetes, they don't even know they have diabetes, and those that know they have diabetes don't even know how to go about it. So we need more of diabetes information. We need more of what we are doing right now. Africa needs more of what we are doing right now. We need people that are so passionate about that advocacy and going to communities, different communities, not just online, because not everyone in Africa can access online, can access to buy data to do video and all those stuff. So we need foundations, organizations that are so passionate to go to communities, go to churches, go to mosques, go to schools, keep on raising their awareness. And if there are any organizations that are doing such a thing, like the PJosh Foundation, they should be supported to keep on doing what they are doing, because it takes finance to reach out to these interior communities. It takes finance to buy the sugar test, the sugar strip, and all those things. So what we need is we need more screening and more awareness in Africa. That's what Africa needs.
Okay, if I were to ask a question to you right now, is there any cure for this very particular moment?
Is there any what?
Cure.
Okay, for now, medical speaking, there's no cure yet for diabetes. There's no cure. It is only managed. Though there are stuff coming up online and so many persons talking about cure, but medically speaking, there is no cure yet, except otherwise. But there's no cure yet for both the type 1 diabetes and the type 2 diabetes. It's only managed. And it's only managed.
If you can then start talking about, for example, on type 1 diabetics, what are the management systems that you can employ? Or somebody you want to talk about, how can they manage that? Before
Okay. In type 1 diabetes, I say type 1 diabetes and autoimmune disease. The pancreatic cells are completely destroyed. That means there's no production of insulin at all. So the first management for type 1 diabetes is insulin injection. The person living with type 1 diabetes must inject insulin every day to stay alive. So that is the first management, the first step. Insulin injection. You must take your insulin injections as prescribed by your medical practitioner, by your doctor. It's very important. Yes, now exercise. The American Diabetes Association recommended 30 minutes of daily. That's 30 minutes of daily exercise daily. 30 minutes daily. You mustn't do them as stretch. At least you can segment them, but make sure you are consciously exercising, eating healthy. Then quit smoking. If you're smoking, limit your alcohol intake. But if I should advise you, it's not about my religious belief. I'd advise you to even avoid alcohol. If I should advise you, I advise you to avoid alcohol. Then with this, just make sure that you're taking your insulin as prescribed by your doctor, quit smoking, quit alcohol, exercise daily, eat healthy, nothing. You just live your healthy life. That's it. Make sure you visit your doctor, for your eyes, your ophthalmologist at least once every year for your dilated eye examination. You visit your podiatrist for your feet examination. Check out your KFC, your kidney function test, your liver function test, all this stuff, because diabetes affects virtually every organ of your body. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah. So for the type 1 diabetes, you must inject your insulin. You must. And there's something that okay.
Let's talk about the whole part of the insulin that you must take or you must inject all the time. How expensive is it insulin for an average?
How what did you say?
How expensive is the insulin?
Yeah. Here in Nigeria, there are different brands of insulin. The foundation, the PJosh Foundation, helps patients buy insulin. Most times it depends. There are those that we have to buy like for 4,500 naira. There are those that the insulin costs like 10,000 naira, 7,000 naira. But I also heard that in some countries like there's some countries in Africa that they get their insulin free of charge. Okay. So I believe I'm trying to raise up my voice for the government of Nigeria to start making insulin free, because it is actually a challenge. Like the other day, there is this mother of a twin. One of the twins is type 1 diabetes. She's a single mama. She's not working. She can't afford to buy the insulin, and she connected us. Without the insulin injection, the baby is gonna die. An 11-year-old girl, she's gonna die because she can't afford to buy an insulin. So the PJosh Foundation took it upon herself to provide the insulin through your support, through every other person's support. So it's very expensive here in Nigeria. That's the truth. Managing diabetes, type 1 diabetes, is expensive here in Africa. So one of the ways the government, this is an international program. One of the ways I'm soliciting is that the government make at least the insulin free for people living with type 1 diabetes. Let them make it free. Let them make the diabetes drug. They make metformin, the glycophage, let them make it free for the people living with type 1 diabetes. Just like the way they made HIV drugs free in here in Nigeria. Let them also make that of diabetes free, because diabetes is a very chronic disease. So as an advocate for people living with diabetes, I'm saying let the insulin be free, let the drug be free, because it's actually a challenge for people living with type 1 diabetes and type 2 diabetes.
All right. Somebody will hear you now and say the reason why you are advocating for the thing to be free, but the measure in terms of people who have HIV/AIDS and people who have diabetes, the numbers are not the same. So when you decide available free insulin, what is your own position? Why you choose the government? You're appealing to the government of Nigeria and also to that of African Union. What are
I didn't get what you said. The sound was actually disturbing.
Yeah, I promise you, I'm trying everything because I can see that the both of us are struggling when it comes to the issue of sound, and I don't know why. Can you hear me now properly?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Now, my question that I want to ask you, why do you feel that the government of Nigeria should make this very particular, what's called insulin for the type 1 diabetes free? How come the insulin is not free? Why do you think so? Or what are the things that made you think this thing needs to be free?
Yes, it needs to be free, because many people living in Africa are poor. That's the truth. Africa is a third world country. That's the truth. And many people can't afford it. And there are patients that skip their insulin injections. They don't even take it. So end up that this 11-year-old girl, her mom can't afford the insulin injection. She has to end up taking herbal stuff, and the herbal stuff ended up destroying her kidneys. It's not that even if a doctor intervened on time, she could have lost her life. So all I'm saying is let the insulin be free. Let the insulin be free for people with type 1 diabetes. Do you know that people with type 2 diabetes, most of them also ingest insulin? Maybe you don't know that. There are those also ingest, and many persons can't even afford it, can't even afford to buy all these things. Some buy insulin like every month, some buy like 2 times a month, 3 times a month, depending on the number of doses on the number of doses they ingest and on the doses they ingest and the number of times they ingest. So if the government can make it free or let's say subsidize, it's gonna be a very great news for people living with type 1 diabetes and for people living with type 2 diabetes.
All right, now let's focus on type 2 diabetics now. What do you think are the systems somebody can put in place in that very particular type 2? Because you said type 2, now this person already has type 2 diabetics now. So what can they manage it, or what can they do for them to avoid having type 2? Not pain or somebody who cannot control the sugar level. What do you think that for type 2?
Okay. Type 2 diabetes is asymptomatic. Most people don't know that they have type 2 diabetes. Now, how can you prevent type 2 diabetes? You can prevent type 2 diabetes by eating healthy. Eating healthy, yes, God has blessed Africa. God has blessed us with vegetables and fruit. These are part of things that we should add in our diet, in our food when we are eating. Quitting sedentary lifestyle. You know, we've accepted. I don't know. Technology is a blessing, but it can become a curse to us if we abuse it. Those days we can trek, we can walk for long distance, we can go to farm as Africans and do some chores in the house, wash our clothes with our hands. But these days, most of us don't do that again. We from train to plane, from plane to our car, and all those stuff. You know, this is put us at risk. So quitting sedentary lifestyle. Make sure once in a while you work out. Working out includes walking, trekking, dancing, cycling, swimming. Quit sedentary lifestyle. Quit smoking. Quit alcohol. Have enough rest. You know that stress can put you at risk of having type 2 diabetes. So it's important that you have enough rest. It's very important. So I said eating healthy, quitting sedentary lifestyle, quitting smoking, quitting alcohol. This can help you curb the risk of becoming type 2 diabetes. Then watch out for your weight. Watch out for your weight because obesity puts you at risk of having insulin resistance. And insulin resistance is one of the major causes of type 2 diabetes. Now note, it is not everyone living with type 2 diabetes that is obese. And it's not everyone that is obese that have type 2 diabetes.
Okay.
I hope you understand that, Nigeria. Yes. So just make sure that you're keeping a healthy weight. Keeping a healthy weight is going to help you curb the risk of becoming type 2 diabetic.
All right. Now, my next question that I want to ask you now is that this has to do with, for example, now the foundation in which you are running. On your own part, based on the fact that all these things that you're doing, what are the events that we have in Nigeria or probably across Africa that somebody can follow you if you want to actually get some how to manage them, how to live beyond this very product? What are the systems that you have currently? You have available on your website?
Okay. If I got your question right, because I wasn't hearing what saying. The foundation has an office. By God's grace, we have to set up an office this year. In our office, what we do most is we reach out to people, not just those with diabetes. We do sugar screening, blood pressure, body weight, educating the patients and people about diabetes. And then for the foundation, we also go to communities because type 2 diabetes is asymptomatic. Most people don't even know that they have type 2 diabetes. So we go to communities, we educate them about diabetes. We give them opportunity to know their blood sugar level, and by so doing, we can find out those that are already diabetic. We are trying to build a network with other healthcare professionals like the endocrinologists, especially the endocrinologists and the diabetes team. So if you find out that there are those that are diabetic, we want to build up a team like by referring them to this patient, to this medical doctors or medical practitioners. And then if the services represent, if the truth is that healthcare is a pure business. So we can't tell the doctors to treat them for free. So the foundation can assist in paying some of at least their medical bills or assisting in getting their drugs or getting their insulin. And God will help us. We are still a growing foundation. We are still a growing organization. So, but right in my head, yes, I'm the visionary. I believe the time will come when we will take complete responsibility for everyone living with diabetes, paying their medical bills, supplying their drugs, supplying their insulin, as God will keep on blessing us. So this is part of what is in my heart. You see, as we have to build a complex where people living with diabetes or everybody can come around, have their sugar level take for free. And if you are diabetic, we're gonna have endocrinologists, ophthalmologists that will attend to you. We're gonna be paying them. But that's not now. But I know it is in my heart that we are gonna do that. So the PJosh Diabetes Foundation is so passionate about diabetes advocacy, not just for those with diabetes, but for those not diabetic, to educate them. And if eventually you're diabetic, we want to take up from there, assist in the way we can. For now, we are giving you the medical advice, the education, and you're not paying for it. So, but as time goes on, we're gonna be taking responsibilities of those that are being hospitalized, paying their bills and so on. God will help us in doing that.
Amen. All right, now, second, two questions to go before we call this interview right. What is the thing that you want them currently now that are listening? What do you want them to know about diabetes?
Okay, I'm an apostle of hope in diabetes. I'm an apostle of hope in diabetes. Yes, you've heard. I don't know the number of persons watching this. You've heard a lot about diabetes. That's the truth. There's nothing new I've said that I think you've not heard. But something I wanted to know is that living with diabetes is not a death sentence. Everywhere I go, I say it. It is not a death sentence if it is diagnosed on time and properly managed. Yes, I know that it's not easy to manage diabetes in a sort of financial issues as Africans. Even those in America and those in Europe also find it difficult to manage their diabetes financially because they need to buy their drugs and so on. In some countries, I buy their drugs. I know in countries like London, I think I have a friend in London that is diabetic. She gets her insulin for free. But what I'm saying is that it is not a death sentence. It's all about being determined to survive. First of all, you have to love yourself enough. If you are type 1 diabetic, it is not your fault that you are diabetic. Even if you are type 2 diabetic, love yourself enough. That's the first step to manage diabetes. Love yourself enough. Then start taking your drugs or insulin as prescribed by your medical doctor. Eat healthy, exercise, quit smoking, quit alcohol, rest well, stay hydrated always. You know, visit your doctor, your endocrinologist, your ophthalmologist is very important. And then I want to say this, we call it diabetic foot ulcer or diabetes gangrene. You know, in this part of the world, we are so spiritual. Africans are very spiritual. It's not bad. It's very good. But I really advise that before you start accusing your enemies for the cause of any medical health, any issue health-wise, please go to the hospital first for proper medical diagnosis. We find out that most people end up having wounds in their leg, and the wounds are supposed to get healed. And then they start accusing the enemy that they're enemies. Yeah, in my own community, where I'm coming from, we call it name like Ulcer and all those things, like Ulcer. I don't know what you call it in South Africa. The wounds will not get healed. Then they start killing the enemy that this thing is that this is that the enemy caused the wound in their leg, and then most of them end up losing their life. So if you notice that you have a wound in your leg and the wound has refused to get healed, please see a doctor for medical advice. See a doctor for medical advice. The doctor will help you out in checking your sugar level and then finding out what actually is the cause. Then if you are diabetic, please make sure you don't walk around barefooted. Make sure you don't put on shoes that is tightening your legs. Make sure you check inspect your leg every day. At least before you taking your bath, you inspect your leg, your feet. Sorry, inspect your feet to find out if there are wounds. And even if there's any wounds, don't get scared. Just see your doctor. From there, your doctor will take it up. So my advice to everyone with diabetes is that first, there's not a death sentence. You can have your children. You can become anything you want to become in life. Especially for the little children that are diabetic. It's all about you loving yourself. And then, if you love yourself enough, you manage your diabetes properly. Yeah, so get determined about it. It is not a death sentence.
All right. Now, at this very particular point, family, we've just heard from what's called PJosh, and he is the founder of a PJosh Diabetes Foundation. For more information, you can definitely visit his foundation. Information that is going to drop on the for how to manage this very particular ailment called diabetes. Now, my final question to you: how can someone find you? What are the information that people need to know in terms of marketing? You have 2 minutes to tell your products and also help people find you.
Okay, yeah. You can find me on Facebook on PJosh Emmanuel. That's my Facebook handle, PJosh Emmanuel. Just send me a request, or you can follow me on Facebook, PJosh Emmanuel. And I also like you to follow the foundation's social media handles. On Facebook, we have PJosh Diabetes Foundation. On Instagram, PJosh Diabetes Foundation. On Twitter, PDF Africa. Then on our website is www.pjoshdiabetesfoundation.org. Then my mobile number, in case you want to call, is +234 08104229785. So I'm always available. I'm always online most times as I'm free to attend to your questions and to reach out to you if I can.
And that's how we come to this very particular end of this very particular broadcast today, whereby we're talking about all things diabetics this moment. We have an interesting guest who is currently who was talking to us about what we need to do and how we need to go about this very particular thing. For more information, you can visit our website, which is at PJoshDiabetesFoundation.org, for you to be able to get in touch with him and also to be able to find a way of diagnosing the problem that you need to solve at this very particular time. Call him +234-810-422-9785. I'll repeat again, +234-810-422-9785. And also you can find him on the social media platform. For instance, he said on Facebook, you can find him as PJosh Emmanuel. On his Twitter, Instagram, and definitely we look forward to meeting with him. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm so excited. Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak about diabetes on an international platform. I appreciate that so much. Please, before I conclude again, just know that living with diabetes is not a death sentence. I pray that soon we get a cure medically. But don't forget, there's no disease God cannot heal.
100%. All right, we're back with this being said. Thank you so much for taking out the time to come with us. And I really want to apologize with the sound. I know that some of you guys are complaining, but I can see a message coming in terms of the sound system. I don't know what is happening. We've tried everything, the technical team, and we'll try for us to rectify the sound. Don't forget we're going to join tomorrow. Another interesting conversation around 7 p.m. of African time, and this will be happening. Where we were talking about all things, also how to take which you want to get to. We want to use that very particular conversation. An interesting guest who is one of the forerunners when it comes to the whole issue of business management, business processing, business mechanism that you can actually engage with. Tomorrow at exactly 7 p.m. it will be definitely broadcast live on Platform Church, which is both Platform Church and also YouTube. And also very much for now. Sometime. I'll see you there again on our interesting but known as Platform Conversation. For more information, just now on it's 16090. Probably email us at manager at dexterityradio.co.za. For more information, you can visit our website at dexterityradio.co.za. To wrap this moment, still your host, right here on Dexterity Radio, all about information.